This is my second attempt recording this. Okay. Hey guys, Mistmaster1 here, and welcome back to more Kingdom Hearts Funimix HD Proud Level 1. In the last episode, we made it to the final save point of the game and end of the world to Final Rest, and we pretty much did everything in the main story up to this point, aside from the final boss. So now it is time we do all the types of side quests we can in this. Before we get on with the episode here, we're going to do the Hades Cup in this video, but we actually filled out the entire minigame section of the journal by completing Pooh's Money Path. Olympus Coliseum is filled in only based on the fact that all you need to do is unlock time trials and it'll complete that portion of the minigames. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, Dalmatians, Trinities, and minigames have now been 100% completed. Before we get into the Hades Cup really quick, just going to go over my equipment: Lady Luck Keyblade, Royal Crown Accessory, and Ray of Light Accessory. I've given Donald the EXP ring. You might think that's stupid because I'm level 1, it won't make a difference, but the main reason is because it slightly raises his max MP by 1, so I want that, and the Brave Warrior. And I've given Goofy the Omega Arts and the Ifrit Belt just for some extra strength. I've also supplied myself with 3 Ethers. You might be wondering why this is my second attempt recording this. Well, the best solution to a lot of these fights, at least for the start, is just use Aroga, because Aroga has invincibility capabilities on most attacks. My microphone was partially unplugged, so my audio kept clipping, and it kind of made me sound like a robot for most of it, so I'm really sad that I have to redo this, but it is for the greater good. Now then, this question mark thing right here, we're not going to do that. It's Super Boss, and anyone who's played this game or remotely knows about this game knows what that is. That is not going to happen for a little while. That is for another time, like probably around 10 videos from now, but well, I'll just stop talking about it. Instead, we're going to do the Hades Cup, and let's enter together. Start from the 49th seed. We have 50 seeds to go through. We have to get started somewhere. Now, you'll actually go through all the arenas. Like, this is the one from the Pegasus Cup. You'll go through all the arenas that were available in the first 3 cups as there are. And the first division of 10 is going to be basic Heartless that we've already seen a fair bit. Now, I will do my best not to absolutely spam the heck out of this thing right here, which is the Aroga spell, because it's good for, you know, it's good for invulnerability and dealing some nice damage based off the amount of MP you have. But for the first 10 fights or so, and probably the next 10 fights, because I'm gonna be doing the first 20 seeds of this cup for this video. This whole video is gonna be in the first. This whole cup, holy crap, I cannot talk. This whole cup's gonna take 3 videos, so I'm gonna have to get started. If I did this entire cup in one video, it'd probably be an hour to 90 minutes long, and I don't want that. But yeah, the first division of 10, because they are separated in groups of 10, I'll explain more on that when that time is more appropriate for it. But basically, just know that for every 10 seeds that you fight, you're pretty much gonna get a little super enemy at the end, and then after that you can actually access the cups from any division of 10 after that. And on top of that, because I thought it was really considerate of them to do this, because of how lengthy this overall cup is, and how annoying it would be to go through all 50 seeds just in a row like that, well, thankfully they've separated off like I've specified already. But on top of that, for every 10 seeds you actually complete in this cup, you will get a little bonus added to your overall just stats. And I'll explain more on that when that time comes, because we're still a good, like, 8 fights away before we really see what this cup has to offer. But this is a nice cup of the game, surely due to the fact that you get a lot of rewards for actually completing it. Not just completing all 50 seeds, but every set of seeds you get a reward, basically. I have Aroga on my hotkey shortcut menu right there, just because it's going to be the most used spell I take on for probably a majority of this cup, to be perfectly honest. Just because it's so powerful, especially at this point now that it's fully upgraded. Arrow initially halves your damage, which really doesn't make a difference at level 1 because it's scaled anyway. Aurora, which is the next upgrade, will deal damage based off the amount of MP you have. And Aroga, when it's fully leveled up to its true form, will actually deflect various small attacks, like the Pirate's Sword attacks, the Shadow's Clawing attacks, all that good stuff. So, it is a little bit cheap in essence, but I am level 1. I want to make, you know, my resources, like, used to their full ability. And by doing that, I pretty much make my life easier, and I make these videos not as tedious, because up to this point, we haven't really had a chance to... The best we could do is just pretty much all straight out physical hits like I'm doing now, and fire, and we actually haven't even done a cup with fully leveled magic yet. This is the first instance where that happens. we have ourselves the Firaga and Aroga spell, which are both pretty nice. And we'll actually be experiencing some more level 3 magic in the near future, but more on that in just a little bit later, actually, in this same video, actually. So my overall strategy for a reasonable amount of cups in this game, make sure you have Aroga on you, cast it, and then just kind of run around, hit the enemies with the spell, but also recharge your MP by, you know, doing regular physical hits, stuff we already know already, but try not to exhaust all of your MP if you can help it. This is a bit of a cheap tactic to go about it. It is also the fastest because Aroga does insane damage very quickly. But the same whole concept still applies to the point where you don't want to exhaust your magic to the point that it just absolutely demolishes your MP and you run out, but also to the point where you get fights done in a timely fashion. Have ourselves another rare truffle here. How much MP am I at? I am at 4. I'm gonna hit this guy until I am at 5 MP really fast, just so I can have a little bit of... Well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna do it at 5 MP. I was tempted to heal before I started doing this, which I probably should have done so beforehand, but I mean, it's not a big deal. Coming up in the next seed is actually an enemy... Well, I mean, we fought all the enemies here already, but... On her own, we actually have Yuffie this time, and she pretty much plays out the exact same she did before, except she's on her own, and get a rogue off immediately because she can now throw 3 shurikens at once, and they're also thrown at a much faster rate, so Aroga will be nice enough to deflect all of those automatically for you, so you don't have to worry about that. If you stay super aggressive, similar to what we did in the Pegasus Cup time trial, she'll go down really quick. She can still do all of her same moves like so, like her really powerful shuriken attack here. She can throw 3 shurikens instead of 1, like I mentioned earlier. She can still throw them singularly if she feels like it, but just be aware that she is, you know, a lot faster and more agile. She can still heal herself. She will be using that little shuriken attack a lot more frequently because she is on her own, so to buff her. No, don't you dare heal yourself, okay. That kind of worried me, actually. She doesn't take too much of a beating, as you see, we've already finished her off, but if you're not really agile and aggressive and, you know, you plan your strategy out properly, she can be a nuisance. And we got ourselves the Genji shield for defeating her. Not as good as the mighty shield we picked up in End of the World, but still reasonable nonetheless. And that kind of segues back into my point I was making earlier, to the point where you actually do get some rewards for just doing certain parts of the cup. You don't have to do all 50 seeds to get something out of it. I mean, if you're gonna get some rewards, you may as well do the entire thing, but they do give you some incentive along the way, so it's not just a full, flat-out 50 seeds you have to fight in order to actually just completely do it, you know what I mean? It's not like you have 50 long, tedious fights ahead of you and then you get one small reward that honestly isn't even worth much by the end of it. No, it actually does give you rewards from very specific fights across the thing, and every increment of 10 you get yourself a reward as well. And I believe we are at seed 43, seed 40 will be coming up, and all of the seeds that end in 0, like 40, 30, 20, 10, and number 1 seed all have a special enemy that we have to take down in order to clear the first division of 10. I will promise I will let up on my Aroga spam once we finish the first 10 seeds, just a little bit, because there's something that happens after we finish the first 10 seeds to really make our lives a bit easier. Defender strategy, just getting a Bravura off like so, with some hits while you're at it. No, don't do that, it's actually bad. Sarcasm is hard, I know. And that's pretty much how you deal with defenders, is just use a gravity on them. They're very slow, they can't really get out of the way in time. And again, a little bit spammy, but we're going to get a rogue off again, just so we can speed some fights up a little bit more, like this. And we're almost at our 40th seed, but I do believe there is one more fight after this that we have to take care of. It's just so silly, just running into enemies non-stop and being able to pretty much kill them simply by touching them. It's a really novel? I don't know what the word is for it. The adjective form of novelty, like, I don't know. Actually, you know what, never mind, I suck at English, and my grammar is always bad in these videos because I'm trying to say stuff too quickly, so, I mean, it's whatever. I'm not exactly the most competent person when I'm recording these because I'm doing them live and I'm playing a game that's hard to commentate live, so there you go. And we have ourselves the 41st seed, the last seed before our first major fight of this cup. We're just going to use some Graviras on these guys, like so. The big enemies with a lot of HP you can take care of with Gravira pretty quickly. They only take a few more hits after the fact. You can actually hit the large bodies from in front of them, which is a bit silly. And yes, again, Aroga is beast. It is, honestly, like, I'm not joking when I say this, it is probably the best overall spell in the game. Gives a nice little damage output once it's in its second level, and it makes you impervious to all minor attacks, like auto parries them. Every 10 fights, you will get yourself into one of these where it loads in a different fight specifically, like this. The arena's actually been removed because we have ourselves a giant enemy. This is the Behemoth, but in a different form. This is the Destroyed Behemoth. And it behaves a lot like the Behemoth that we fought in Hollow Bastion, and not the ones that we fought in End of the World. First of all, we have no summons available to us because, what is it called? That's a rule, no summons allowed, so we can't cheese this thing with summons and damage storage. This is considered a boss-type enemy, unlike the ones we fought in End of the World, so gravity is not going to prove to be very useful. But something that's nice, of course, that we have, that we didn't have the first time we fought the Behemoth, the very first time in Hollow Bastion, is ourselves the... Well, actually we technically did, now that I think about it. We have Aurora, upgrade to Aroga, and the nice little thing about that is, even though this thing is basically impervious to all types of magic, and you can't use summons on it, Aurora/Aroga will still get the job done in a very timely fashion because it outputs a ridiculous amount of damage regardless. So just the fact that, you know, this thing does the exact same attacks that we've been, you know, seeing for the last several videos in episode 42, episodes 44 through 46, that where you spend at End of the World. Nothing new to really talk about, except that this guy has a really stylish skin and just overall design with the colors. I love the orange that they use for this thing. It makes it look really, what's the word? Exotic, I guess, for lack of a better word. But its fight pretty much plays out the exact same way that the regular Behemoth did, except that we now use Aroga instead of summons to deal a lot of damage, and it goes down fairly quickly. Goofy's right next to me, and Donald's way the hell back there, so that's fun. And for defeating our first set of 10, we actually attain the power of ice and get ourselves our next little upgrade from Blizzara to Blizzaga. And that's the little incentive I was talking about earlier when I said every 10 seeds you'll be rewarded. See, we now have our fully leveled up Blizzaga spell, which is very tempting to use right now, but first we're going to quit out of this. We have now finished our first set of 10 seeds in the Hades Cup, and as a result of that, we can now talk to Phil again. My Keyblade is sticking through Donald, that sucks. We can now enter together and start from the 39th seed and onward after the fact, now that all of that has been said and done. But really quick, let me customize Blizzaga onto my quick shortcut thing here and head up to the Colosseum gates, because this is kind of important. Remember when we used our Blizzara magic on these torches and got ourselves a Holy G? Well, now that we have the Blizzaga spell, we can actually do this again and get another item out of it, so I will speed this up really quick. See you in a minute. And for your efforts, you will reveal this little hidden chest here, and you get yourself the Shiva Belt accessory. This accessory is amazing. Not just for the fact that it reduces ice damage by 40%, but this gives you a +2 MP stat added to you. Ray of Light only has 1, and with that we basically increase our MP once again to another division of 9 instead of 8. And while we're at it, let's give Donald the Ray of Light, since we no longer have a use for that. He can have 1 more MP while we have 1 more MP, and there we go. We now have ourselves 9 out of a possible 10 MP that we can attain at level 1, so we're almost there. We actually didn't even use any ethers in that last, those last 10 Cs, so that's pretty nice, but there we go. Our magic is now stronger, we now have an upgraded Blizzaga spell. Why don't you say we put that Blizzaga spell to the test in our next little set of seeds here. I also recommend for every time you defeat a set of 10, just leave the arena and come back and start the seed from scratch, like starting 39 from scratch now, because you can also get yourself a free refill on your MP, because you're probably dry after the last 10 fights that you just had to go through. And here's Blizzaga in action. Yeah, it has an absurdly widespread, well, spread, I guess. And it's also stronger than Blizzara, and with 9 MP it becomes even more stronger on top of all that. So we have ourselves a really powerful group-hitting spell, essentially. So the next several mobs are going to be really easy to deal with. I'm not going to say super easy to deal with, but much easier to deal with. On top of the fact that we have ourselves a much better spell for dealing with mobs, and we also have more MP to make our magic more powerful in general, thanks to the Shiva Belt. And the Royal Crown and the Shiva Belt and the Lady Luck all put together, I'm just gonna heal so you don't have to listen to that siren going off. With Lady Luck, Royal Crown, and Shiva Belt all put together, and the fact that we chose the staff at the beginning, we have ourselves an additional 7 MP. 6 MP through equipment, 1 if you chose the staff at the start. I'm going to break my rules and use Aroga once again here because this fight is irritating without it. You see, we have ourselves the torso of the guard armor, the red armor, and just a lot of other minor things going on in the background while we're doing this. So really just for the sake of ease, I'm going to use Aurora to get rid of the torso really quickly. And let's also work on the feet. Actually, no, let's work on the arms. The arms go down pretty quickly. They don't have a lot of health, they're more of a nuisance than the feet in my opinion, and this Aroga spell is going to run out in a little while, so I want to... Oh, it actually just ran out, how about that? Well, I took care of most things, so let me see if I can get rid of you with a fire magic. One more, please. Okay, this is looking a little bit hectic, but not too bad. I'm running low on MP, let me chuck an ether. Like I said, it's very easy to exhaust your MP in these sort of Coliseum fights, so you gotta watch that. Use Bazaar on you to finish you off, or at least stun you so I can do another little hit here. The same thing still does apply, that you can actually take 3 hits, even though it looks like you're gonna die in 1 more hit, you do in fact take damage 1 more time, like so, before you actually have to bite the dust. And it's actually a little strategy of mine to specifically take damage down to the point where I'm at 1 hit remaining, and Donald comes in with a little heal, so he spends an MP healing me instead of me having to spend the MP myself. That's something I wouldn't always advise, only when there's like 1 enemy left and you know that you're not going to get overwhelmed. Take a hit intentionally, and then just, you know, have Donald heal you, but of course he has to have MP. You remember these guys? These Black Fungus? Well, now that we have ourselves 9 MP, the Gravura spell actually kills the Black Fungus in 1 little casting. If you have 8 MP or less by that point, you need to do a little bit more, like a physical hit or 2, a magic spell of fire, whatever. But we're already seeing improvements. Can I please hit this thing? Good lord. We're already seeing improvements to the magic on top of what we already had to begin with. And the fact that Gravura now one-shots Black Fungus at this point in the game, and their battle level really doesn't get any higher than it is currently, so that's pretty nice. If we had 8 MP, we would not kill that thing in 1 hit, so it's already proving its worth in great detail there. No enemies that are impervious to blizzards, so that's always nice. Of course, the only issue with Blizzaga is that if enemies do absorb the blizzard spell, it's not really going to be any help to you if they're impervious to it, if they heal from it, stuff like that. But when you get into instances like this, you can use Blizzaga to really just annihilate pretty much all the mobs that are here, so long as none of them are Ice Elemental. Blizzaga essentially has the same capabilities as Fire, except it's a widespread spell, so you really can't go wrong. And here we have ourselves a Stealth Sneak. We haven't seen one of these guys since we fought Clayton in episode 10. Really quick, I'm just going to use Aroga to get rid of the little mini guys so I can really focus on... Oh, thank you, Donald. I was getting a little carried away there. I wasn't even paying attention. But I will go into detail on the Stealth Sneak in just a bit here. I just want to get rid of these little green Requiems and blue Rhapsodies so we can really focus on the task at hand. The big guy himself. Also, you can't really take down big enemies like this while green Requiems are around. They will heal themselves, they will heal the big enemies. But yeah, there we go. Now we are down to just this guy singularly. I'm going to heal because Donald is out of MP. Those are just minor things you have to watch out for. It has like a little charge up attack like so. If I really wanted to, yeah, I'm just going to cast Aroga again to speed this little process up. You see it's invisible at the start, but after you've dealt damage to it, it will reveal itself. This one looks a little different than the one we fought in Deep Jungle. That one was green, this one is gray. I kind of like this design a little bit better. And it shoots lasers from its eyes once it's revealed. It can jump around a lot, it can charge you like so. And that's really all that it has to offer. With Aroga going on at it repeatedly, it kind of gets brought down quickly and all that other stuff. And yeah, that's literally, just unlike other Heartless, it actually remains on the field once it's knocked out, but yeah. This little seed right here can be a little irritating. Okay, I'm gonna cast Aroga for the sake that I don't die here. Your main focus is to get rid of that wizard right here. You can make your life easier by casting Aroga, since most of the other magic will be impervious to you while they shoot little projectiles at you. So you can focus your targets. The thunder spells do hurt you though, so still be careful of that. I'm going to take care of the blue Rhapsodies to start things off now that the wizard has been dealt with, because then I can just use Blizzara, or Blizzaga, to really deal with the rest of the mob that is here. I believe the Blizzard spell does work wonders a little bit more on, what's it called, the red Nocturnes, just because they're fire elemental and they have a natural weakness to Blizzard. But Blizzard still does a fair bit of damage to other enemies that aren't weak to it, but aren't impervious to it. Same kind of concept here, except now there's shadows instead of the little elemental heartless. The general strategy... Oh, jeez. I was gonna say just worry about the wizards, because really the... What's it called? The shadows themselves can't really do much on their own. The wizards kind of have a little thing where they can attack from a distance. The shadows kind of have to be right up in your face. Oh, excuse me, I'm having like a little hiccup right now. The shadows kind of have to be really right up in your face in order to actually do much to you, which can prove to be a bit of a nuisance. But the bigger nuisance, the bigger elephant in the room, are the wizards, because they can pretty much attack you from anywhere in the arena, so watch out for that. I want to use Aroga to speed this up just a little bit more, but I'm going to be patient and not do that. He is going to just disappear really quick. I'd love to get rid of him really quick. Come on, he has not much health left. Okay, good. And now all we have ourselves to deal with is just the little wimpy shadows, because honestly, compared to everything else we've seen at this point in the game, these guys are kind of a joke. They're really slow. They take a while to get their attacks off. I mean, don't get me wrong, when the game first started, we had very little resources available to us. These guys were pretty intimidating. I will not undermine the fact that these guys can still wipe you out if you are not on top of your game, but just compared to wizards, defenders, invisibles, angel stars, you know, the really, really annoying heartless we've come to hate, in late game, they're just inferior. Speaking of angel stars, here we have this seed with a set of wizards and an angel star. I'm gonna be a jerk. I'm just going to use Gravira, murder these people, because they're honestly a bane of my existence. You don't want to deal with these guys if you can help it. And we kind of just obliterated them. That was kind of hilarious, actually. But here we are. Now we are moving on to the 30th seed of the Hades Cup. We are once again... This is the field for actually the Phil and Hercules Cup. The arena has been removed once again. And remember back in episode 13 when I said we'd fight Cerberus a second time? Well, here he is as the 30th seed. Oh. I completely just screwed that up because I thought I had a Roga hotkey to my, what's it called? I thought I had a Roga, oh, this could be really bad actually. I need to be a little bit careful here and play safe. Let me get a heal off and let me throw an ether. I wasn't paying attention. But now that we have gotten to this part where we're fighting Cerberus for the second time, let me just cast an Aroga spell, because Aroga will make all of these boss type enemies easier. Donald doesn't have MP, so I'm going to back off and heal. And let's actually get in some damage to this guy. So, as he was doing in the previous fight, when we fought him way back when, he can shoot little dark breath into the ground, create little shockwaves. He has his little thrusting attacks like so, where he'll just charge all three of his heads at you. You can actually parry the heads if only one of them specifically is attacking you. Don't make it a habit to always just go in and be super aggressive, but when the heads are individually attacking you, it is a fact that, what's it called, that you can actually parry them with Aroga at the whim. You can also parry them with physical attacks, of course, much like everything else that Aroga does block, but Aroga just does it as a sort of passive ability and makes your life easier. I'm going to throw another ether really quick right here. I kind of want him to use his little fireball attack so I can show something. Okay, here we go. Now that we have Aroga, we can just deflect these fireballs back at him and actually deal some decent damage. You could, of course, just reflect these like we, you know, we've always been capable of throughout this game, but now that Aroga has a sort of passive ability to automatically deflect the little attacks like that, it just makes the whole concept a lot easier. And on top of that, you avoid taking... Whoa! Okay, you avoid taking damage from this guy. And the fireballs actually shoot back at him in order to deal massive damage, so that's pretty sweet. And that's pretty much the extent of what Cerberus can do. I would honestly say he's kind of easier since the last time we fought him, solely for the fact we just have more resources available to us. And Aroga, Aurora, Magic, 9 MP, you know, we only had 3 MP when we fought this guy the first time, so that's already a ginormous step above compared to what we used to do. And there we are. That is Cerberus in the Hades Cup dealt with. Like I said, you get a little upgrade every time you defeat every set of 10, and for defeating Cerberus in the Hades Cup, we get ourselves the fully evolved form of Thunder, from Thundara to Thundaga. Wait, stop, hold on, we gotta quit out. Yeah, I know, I kind of just stayed quiet there for the build-up, like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome, and I'm just like, no, we're gonna bail out, because, we've already done 20 seeds, which is pretty good, all things considered. I'm going to split this cup into 3 videos, because as you can see in the title, it says Hades Cup 1 of 3, and we've done the first 20 seeds, and we will do the next 20 seeds next time on Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD Proud Level 1. So guys, I have been Mistmaster1, thank you for watching. In the next episode, we will continue our adventure through the Hades Cup, get down to the last 10 seeds by the end of the next episode, and then see what we do from there. So thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.